Dan Moore Jr. back in the starting lineup for your Pittsburgh Steelers after a promising performance from young Broderick Jones against the Baltimore Ravens. Is that a big mistake on the part of Mike Tomlin? A lot of other things going on about this team. You have Pat Freiermuth headed to the IR, will miss 4 total weeks, including today. Then you have TJ Watt dealing with a little bit of a heel injury. Then you have the return of Deontay Johnson also. Will he provide a big spark? You have Jaylen Warren, who deserves a little bit more of these snaps and a little bit more of the lion's share of the starter role for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the running back position. What about JPJ? There's so many things going on around this Pittsburgh Steelers team, and we need to break some of this down ahead of this Week 7 matchup against the Rams. Welcome to Mike Drop Sports. I'm your host, Jason. Let's talk about some of that stuff, guys. Let's start with Pat Freiermuth headed to the IR. 4 games total will be missed. And what I want to know from the Steelers fan base is, are the Steelers deep enough at that position, or should they go out and find somebody else to add to that room? You have Williams, Washington, and Hayward. Are they reliable enough and deep enough in that room to get you through the 4 weeks that Pat's out? I think they are. I think you have something in Darnell Washington that's special, and you've yet to even uncover or scratch the surface of figuring out what he can do. Also, Connor Hayward has proved to be that guy. Yes, he's undersized, but he's a great, excellent pass catcher. He'll catch those tough balls and get you those yards you need. And that's something that Pat's been known for, is to catch those nice safety valve type balls from Kenny Pickett to get those quick 10 yards that the Steelers need to keep a drive going and to score those touchdowns late in the game. I think that you can get that from Connor Hayward, and I think you can get that from Darnell Washington. And a young Williams, I like him on the special teams. I thought that he really played a big role when he blocked or recovered that punt that was blocked by Miles Killebrew. I thought that would have been a touchdown in my eyes when you seen his elbow hit down. I thought the energy he played with was amazing, and the way that he really approached the game, knowing that his role was special teams and really did the most with what he got. I thought that was big, and I think that that's something that you need to like and look forward to if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers in Williams, in that tight end room, especially when you have a key injury like a Pat Freiermuth. Let's move on. I want to talk about Dan Moore Jr. being thrusted back into that starting role. That's sad if you ask me, because I think Mike Tomlin's loyal to a fault. You're putting back in Dan Moore Jr. After he's coming back from injury, only because, not because he's better than Broderick Jones, not because you think that he has more potential than Broderick Jones, but because you're loyal to a guy who was a starter, who got injured, and you don't want him to lose his job because he got injured. I get that. I'm cool with all the loyalty stuff, but sometimes you need to just throw that out the window. And Broderick Jones's performance against the Baltimore Ravens was one that I was very positive on and thought that was a very good performance. And I think it warranted another start, if you ask me. I don't think Dan Moore Jr. should just be immediately thrusted back in when you saw that Broderick Jones is really that guy that the reason you went up and got him at 14. You need to just utilize his skill set and continue to develop him. And Kenny Pickett has to develop that trust with his left tackle. That's his blind side, guys. He has to develop that trust. You can't play musical chairs at that position. That is one position that has to be a foundational piece for your franchise. It's one of utmost importance, if you ask me. The left tackle has to be great and play well most of the time. He really just can't afford to have a lot of bad games, and you can't afford to play this musical chairs game with that position. And I think the Steelers are making a huge mistake. And I look for Broderick Jones to be inserted before the game's end. I look for Dan Moore to be sat down after he makes a few mistakes, and Broderick Jones will be brought in. And I don't think we'll ever look back again. I don't think that you'll look back unless there's an injury to Broderick Jones that would require Dan Moore Jr. to come back in to the left tackle position. Let's also talk about this offense and where we see Deontay Johnson fitting in now that he's making a return. He's making a return today. He's one of the best route runners in the NFL. And I think that the Steelers really need to take advantage of that, especially with Pat Freiermuth being out. I think you need to utilize him in several roles. That safety valve role, I think he's able to draw some attention from the defense to where that'll free up some one-on-ones for George Pickens, Calvin Austin. You can't double everybody. And that's what you saw in the preseason with the Steelers. The teams couldn't double everybody, and you had a lot of one-on-one matchups when everybody was healthy. So hopefully Deontay Johnson is able to provide that spark today and continue to get good yards after catch and be able to really move this football down the field when the Steelers need solid drives and be there for Kenny Pickett in those big moments. And if you're Deontay Johnson, I think you need to really just realize touchdowns it's not all about the touchdowns. It's about moving this offense and keeping it flowing and really taking some attention off of George Pickens and allowing the opportunity for big plays, because your moments will come. And if you're Deontay Johnson, being a team player is more important than anything today. And that is requiring the defense to show you great attention with excellent routes and those tough catches across the middle, those tough catches for those first downs that you need in big moments, and not drop the football and really just be focused today and really provide that spark this Steelers team needs in a desperate way on offense. Also, I think you need to start Jaylen Warren. I think Jaylen Warren has to play a lot. In today's matchup, Jaylen Warren really is matched up well against this Rams defense. I think you can utilize them in so many different ways. The run game, I think you could use them in a lot of draw plays. I think you could use them in a lot of counters, a lot of screens out in the pass game. I think he could do a lot of things for Kenny Pickett and really be helpful, and really his skill set matches so well for the things that the Rams do poorly. Jaylen Warren does well. And I think if you're the Steelers, you have to recognize that and really use Jaylen Warren today and let this really truly be his coming out party. It has to be today. And today is the day that I think maybe Jalen dethrones Najee as the head guy. I think today could be that day if the Steelers really operate in the way that they should with Jaylen Warren. Let's move on to the defense a little bit. You have TJ Watt dealing with a little bit of a heel injury. Is there more to that heel injury? I don't like injuries down in that area of the foot because that's a little close to the Achilles for me. And I think that could be a bad injury, especially if you're having foot pain down around that area. Maybe something like that is looming. And I hope not. And I hope TJ Watt just has something going on, just like I'm not sure what kind of injuries you can get down there, like a bone spur or something like that. Maybe something like that to where it's just nagging him a little bit. And hopefully it's nothing too serious. I know that they're not going to tell us everything, and they're going to feed you a little bit of a line just to put the injury out there like they're supposed to by being mandated by the league. But I think there might be more to it, but we'll see. The Steelers really need to manage his snaps and allow Herbig and Golden to get in there and really share in the snap count and share in the time played, and allow Alex Highsmith to really emerge and do some special things. And really, you're not losing a ton when you're putting in Golden and Herbig. I think whenever TJ sits out a little bit, I don't want TJ out all the time, but I think that if you sat him out 50% of the snaps and really managed that injury, I think that you would be okay, and you wouldn't lose so much to where you saw Alex Highsmith's production go down whenever TJ Watt's out. I don't think it'll go down as bad now, considering the depth pieces that they've added over the offseason. I think that they'll be okay. We'll continue to monitor that TJ Watt situation and really watch it close during today's game in Los Angeles. Also, JPJ has to get the line share of the snaps at corner. It's imperative for this Steelers team to really shut down Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp. And it has to be done. You have to have Joey Porter Jr. out there and allow Patrick Peterson to do what you brought him here to do. Joey Porter Jr. can be a shutdown guy out there. Let him take his lumps. If he gets burnt, he gets burnt, whatever. But I think all in all, I think he'll give you a quality performance and really control one side of the field for the majority of the game, to where you're taking away one of their main assets every play with Joey Porter Jr. being on somebody and really shutting people down and causing concern for Matt Stafford not to throw his way. I think that big interception against Lamar Jackson in week 5 really put him on the map, and teams will be looking for him. And I think they'll respect him now and not try to pick on him just because he's a rookie and throw at him. I think that they'll maybe think twice about it. And that's big if you're the Steelers in defense. It's really, really big. So overall, I think JPJ got to get in there and really get the lion's share of those defensive snaps. Even if he doesn't start out there in Los Angeles, he still has to be a very integral part of that defense moving forward. What about that defensive front? Keanu Benton, Larry Ogunjobi, DeMarvin Leal, people like that. I think they have to have a big game today and control that inside the tackle type running. The Rams will be down their two top runners, but I think the Steelers still need to be on alert because teams will still try to run at you. And you can have a no-name back come in there and really have a big day. So if you're the Steelers, you really need to make sure that you're fundamentally sound on that defensive front and allow Keanu Benton and Larry Ogunjobi to grow together and really get used to each other and really put some pressure up the middle and control that run game and force everything out to a TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Herbig, those types of guys, and allow them to bottle everything up inside and create a lot of problems for Matthew Stafford. So, guys, that's just my quick little preview ahead of today's game in Los Angeles. This is a must-win for the Steelers. I don't like using that term, but this is a definite must-win. You have to get everything back. All three phases really rolling today and not take any type of step back. And if you see a Dan Moore Jr. playing poorly, if you're Mike Tomlin, you have to immediately remedy that and get Broderick Jones back in the game. If you're the Steelers and Najee Harris isn't doing what you need to do, you need to just go to the hand of Jaylen Warren. Also on the cornerback position, if you see something happening there, go to Joey Porter Jr. early. Don't allow yourselves to get behind the 8 ball so far and playing catch up, because this team isn't a big time catch up football team. It's not able to do that right now. Give it a few weeks of more of development, and maybe they'll be able to do that in a few weeks. But right now they cannot. And if you're the Steelers, you can't allow things to get out of hand early. So, guys, until next time, we'll be back after the game. We'll have a post-game show and discuss today's action. But until then, we'll talk to you later. Peace.